Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So I am so excited to be here with you guys, and also have my husband Doug on my second YouTube channel. So today is a really exciting video slash first ever podcast episode. So we have started a podcast together. This is the first episode, and it's basically called Influencer to Income. And it's a podcast where we teach you guys how to grow your personal brands as an influencer and also how to make passive income through digital products. And the reason I had my husband Doug on this podcast is that he's basically like the brains and the other half of like this whole digital, product business that we've grown throughout the past 12 months. And I thought, I don't know, you guys might like to hear from someone different.
I'm excited to be here. So
yeah. So
you guys get me whether you want me or not.
So we're going to be recording these and putting them on YouTube for you guys to watch, but also they're going to be, for your listening enjoyment. I don't know how I'm so used to YouTube, but you guys can listen to them wherever you listen to podcasts, right, Doug?
Yep.
He's setting all that up for me.
I am.
Yeah, we're going to be releasing these every single week for you guys. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into the first episode. Hey everyone, welcome to the Influencer to Income podcast. So we are your hosts. My name is Haley, and this is my husband, Doug. Say hey, Doug.
Hey, Doug.
And basically, this is our very first ever podcast episode. We have been wanting to do a podcast. And for those of you guys who are new, we're business partners. We're married. And yeah, we've been full-time influencers for how long? Since 2018. Yeah. And we kind of like have transitioned to really focus on digital products. So this podcast is all about helping influencers grow their online personal brands and also make passive income through digital products, which is really where our expertise and our passion lies. So we're so excited to be here with you guys. And the reason why I have my husband, Doug, and he's going to be in all the episodes. I am so excited for it because I usually do everything solo. Yeah. But really he's like the brains behind just like, creating passive income through digital products. And he's been like the right hand go-to man for me for the last, however long we've been entrepreneurs.
Since we've been married.
Yeah, forever, obviously. And yeah, so in today's episode, we're going to be just talking about our journey because I feel like, a lot of people don't really recount their journey. And when you just hear like income reports, because obviously the podcast is influencer to income. So we're going to focus a lot on like how much money we make, how much money we've made, where do we spend money, and how you guys can maybe hopefully imitate some of the success we've had throughout the past year. Yeah. So we want to be super transparent, but at the same time, share with you guys all of the struggles. So we're going to like throw it back to where it really began. So I think that it seems like it's so easy just to be an influencer, especially in 2021 almost, and just come up out of nowhere and make a bunch of money. But that is like the farthest thing from the truth. So I thought I'd have Doug start us out with maybe like how we even got here. And we're going to try and make it fast. I don't know. I like to hear these kinds of stories because this is stuff that I've never shared online. So yeah. Do you want to talk about, go ahead.
Yeah. It's just a lot of people see influencers currently where they are now.
Yeah.
And you found them after they've had massive success and after they're making a ton of money.
Looks easy.
And it looks easy. And so you imitate what they do, but you're not in that same position. So we want to basically create like a common ground with you guys. Like we've been there and we know exactly what you're feeling. So hopefully this story just further emphasizes that we know and we've been there, but also that it's possible, it's possible to be able to kind of break out of it.
And also, the other big reason that I wanted to have Doug on the podcast is that this sounds real cheesy. I don't know. It sounds strange, but we are a family of influencers. Like, I don't know how to say that, but like, I was a full-time YouTuber and we'll talk about that for like 5 years pretty much, or full-time for like 3 years. And I've never really heard anyone's super raw, transparent experience working with your spouse as an influencer, making all your money on sponsorships and ads, and then looking at different revenue streams. Like I've never heard of anyone really talking about their like numbers and stuff because, now that I'm sort of out of that, which we're going to get to, I feel like I can finally, take a deep breath and like share the things.
Like, here's what kind of really goes on a little bit. Yeah.
But go ahead, Doug. How do you quit your job? First off.
Yeah, so we'll throw it back to like, I don't know how many years ago it was. 5 years ago or something like that. It was a while ago. And basically we were both living together pre-kids and Haley didn't want to do her job anymore. She wasn't about it, but she saw, just like maybe some of you guys have, influencers having success and being paid money to do things.
Really like YouTubers? Because Instagram was like brand new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so she said, I can do this on YouTube. Like if you give me a shot. And I was like, sure. So she quit her job. And then I worked full time at the time at a marketing agency. And that's kind of where the journey began, was with her seeing other people doing it. And so from there, she just kind of worked on it and did whatever she saw people doing, right? And just kind of tried to imitate, to try to like fake it till you make it almost, and just kind of be there.
And honestly, I mean, Doug says it very nicely, but I was like straight up obsessed. So, you know, I quit my job, and I really want, my goal for this podcast is to be like uber transparent with numbers.
Just super raw.
Yeah, super raw, because I have nothing to lose. I mean, who cares about what was happening back then? I'm not living that life now. But at the time, and I know a lot of you guys have heard this story, but at the time I was pregnant with my firstborn, Annabelle. So I'm pregnant with my third right now, 33 weeks. And you know, I was desperate not to put her back in daycare, or put her in daycare at all, because I hated it as a child for whatever reason. So I had to make it happen. And I told Doug, like, I have to work weekends. Like, you got to take these pictures of me. You guys all know, if you're influencers, the grind that the husband or boyfriend goes through.
Husband now.
Yeah, it's
nowadays.
real.
Yeah.
It's hard. So I ended up replacing my full-time income. We lived in LA at the time within that first year, because I was hustling. Like, I mean, I'm not going to go super in depth, but I was like pitching myself as a small influencer to literally anybody that would possibly work with me. And that's kind of how I did that first year, just because I was so desperate to not, you know, I just wanted to be with my baby for, you know, her whole life, but really that first year. Yeah.
And it's not like I was rolling in money at the time.
No, you can talk about how much you made.
That first year when Haley quit, I was making, I think, $48,000 in LA. And like, in the South Bay.
We were literally like 23 LA. Years old, 24. So we were right out of college.
And so that was pretty tough, but for her to be able to make that income up so quickly was huge. And basically what that kind of did was it helped me see the potential that's there. And I know that might also be an issue for a lot of people that want to do this, or that are currently doing it. You know, their significant other may still not fully believe it, may still not fully see.
It totally seems like a pipe dream,
you know,
or whatever
the possibilities of making an income. But it is hard, and it's hard to believe that. And it's hard to believe sometimes that some brand is going to send you money, and that this is something that's sustainable, you know, which is not to ruin the surprise, which is why we're here talking about digital products at some point. But
we'll get to that.
We'll get to that in a second. So after that point, then, you know, Haley kept working at it, and she started making more money. And then I started
getting more raises.
Yeah, I kept getting more raises. I was up over 6 figures and climbing my way through, you know, the corporate ladder, it's more like 7 to 7.
With the commute in LA.
Yeah. And so, but there was a point in which Haley started really taking on big brands, and it started taking up more time. Annabelle was born. She was just being more serious about it. And we talked, and we were like, you know, Doug, you can quit your job.
Well, we did Amazon first.
Oh yeah,
I forgot all
that's
about
right.
that. We've had several businesses. Yeah. So do you want to talk about that? Because I do get questions for those of you guys who are probably listening or watching that have followed me for a while. I know it's probably the majority of you guys right now. You're like, well, I get questions like, Haley, how do you sell products on Amazon? Because you've watched me for a long time. You know, we actually did start an Amazon business.
Yeah, you know, it's funny because I totally forgot
we've done a lot of things. So I think it was 2017, we started. Yeah, 2017. We started our Amazon FBA business. Do you want to explain what that is and why we're not doing it?
Yeah. So we sold physical products on Amazon.
Baby
car seat covers.
Yeah.
So FBA is just like the way. So Amazon takes care of the shipping and the handling and the customer service. And then what we do is we private labeled a product. So we found a generic product, we customized it, we put our own logo on it, we started our own business for it, and then we sold it on Amazon. And so that's what we just kind of jumped into it. Like we took a course on it, which was awesome.
How much did we invest? Like 15,000 or something?
Yeah. Well,
we had no money at the time.
No, we didn't really have any money. And I would say in total, it was probably like 15 to 20,000, including like fees and courses and all the products that you have to do.
And the reason I bring it up is because influencers always want to sell their own, well, not always, but a lot of times they are looking at selling their own products. Yeah. And we did that. So
especially
obviously,
like merch, right?
Like, yeah. Well, no, they like,
or just regular products,
like anything, you know? So I was a motherhood YouTuber, primarily blogger, whatever you want to call it. And I chose like a baby line because I was like, this is going to be good. And it really helped me. Like we made a lot of money through that business. Yeah. And I still get questions like, teach me about that. But we just have recently like phased it out. Like we still have some covers in the garage we got to ship out. But do you want to talk about why? I mean, I have my reasons. I don't actually know why you.
Well, phasing it out, part of the reason to do that was because physical products, one, is tough. And two, the market is like,
Amazon is savage.
The market's very competitive. when manufacturers can find products that work, they'll just cut out the middleman, manufacture it themselves, and then sell it for a lower cost.
Overseas manufacturers.
And so it's tough, and it's a very competitive place, but there is ways to be able to make it happen. But for us, we just felt like that wasn't the life that we wanted to move towards, which was constantly finding new products,
handling physical products,
and then reinvesting in it, and then constantly trying to develop new products or try to stay on top of the market. Like it wasn't our path that we could foresee to spending more time with our child and then, our potentially like our future
and
children.
I think like I didn't know this at the time, but for me, and now I really know why I wouldn't do Amazon again, is because I'm still reliant on another algorithm that I don't own. So it'd be one thing if you were selling products on your own website and maybe having like, I mean, I don't want to touch anything like physically. I don't want to wrap packages. Like I don't have time for that. I have almost 3 kids. But at the time, I was trying to find another income stream outside of YouTube, pretty much, because I was making all my money through sponsorships and AdSense and affiliates through like Amazon Associates. But again, like with Amazon, it's still that algorithm game where people can take you down. You need reviews. You need to climb the rankings. It is very stressful. And not to mention, the obvious thing is that it costs thousands of dollars. And if you pick the wrong product, you're pretty much screwed.
Yeah,
you're just out like thousands of dollars. Yeah. So we dabbled in that, and we did make a lot of money through that business that first year, thanks to my subscribers. Yeah. But that was like our first like toe dipping or whatever you want to call it into entrepreneurship. And ever since then, we've just been like, oh my God, we found out how to make money, passively, because it is pretty passive. They like ship everything for you. You don't even touch the product. Yeah. And we just wanted more of that. So we've always been on this like passive income train. And if you guys don't know what passive income is, I do get this question. Basically where you don't trade your time for money. So you can make money while you sleep. That's such an overused phrase, but it's absolutely true.
Like it's like you literally wake up and there's more money in your bank account before you went to bed the night before.
Yeah. So that is like the opposite of what being an influencer, a traditional influencer is in almost 2021 now. With like a traditional influencer income streams and kind of what we're trying to teach you guys not to go towards and the lessons we've learned. This is just one lesson with Amazon. But we've learned it several times over, is that if you want to truly be financially free, you cannot pursue, trading your time for money, those types of income streams like sponsorships and, physical products, anything that you do yourself, because then it just feels like an 8 to 5 job. Yep. So once we got a taste of that, we were like, well, what other passive income streams can we start and like help grow and nurture? So quickly after that though, once we found that success, we paid off like $40,000 worth of student loan debt. So it was a blessing, but we found that I was just making a ton of money in sponsorships. So I mean, we lived in California at the time, or no, we moved to Charleston for a year. And I think I was getting probably around $3,000 per sponsorship. Yeah. Sometimes 5, more. Sometimes 6, like per
there were 2-minute integration. A couple that were 5-figure.
Yeah. And I don't think I had, maybe I had like around 80,000 subscribers on YouTube. So I always like to tell you guys what to expect. Yeah. And I know a lot of you guys are like, wow, that is amazing. I only make $3,000 a month. But it was like a ball of stress. And this is what influencers don't talk about. But anyways, Doug ended up quitting his 6-figure per year job because it's like 6 figures a year is amazing. But we never saw him. You know what I mean? Like I was over here.
I was always, what's funny is they never saw me, even though I worked at the house, because I worked from home in Charleston. So I had like my little upstairs office.
I mean, we saw him because he wasn't working.
And I would just like sit there and work.
It's hard to work from home.
It is hard to work from home, but it was very time consuming.
Yeah. And so I was like, well, maybe Doug can help me, watch Annabelle, our firstborn. I was pregnant with our second, and, he'll quit his job. And obviously I kind of rain on the whole influencer parade, and I kind of have already done that, but it was such a blessing. Like, I mean, having him come home from work because of like all the sponsorship money we were making, it was, it was like a light at the end of the tunnel. It was like so amazing.
Or so we thought.
No, we really did love it. The first like 6 months was like incredible. Yeah, it was. We were not even working hardly at all.
I know. And I was literally just sitting back, like, working on
he was like, what do
with the kid.
What do
I was just like the stay-at-home dad, and it was cool.
So we did that for 2 years. We were like full-time YouTubers. It was really like my personal brand, but he was in like almost everything. Yeah. I was doing sponsorships with, Pamper. I still do a couple of sponsorships here and there, so you guys will see them, but like Pampers and like big name brands. We were in a magazine. I mean, what in the world?
She was in a magazine.
I don't even have like a million subs. You were in there. Oh, you were shot. I don't know if he's.
Yeah.
But we were in, I think it was like Parents Magazine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So crazy things happened, and I didn't have 1 million subscribers. I had like around 100,000 at the time, and I was like high on life because I was like, this is finally like everything I've worked for.
Yep. Here it is. Like
talking to like my mom on YouTube for like
I'm
the
like
first
the big
6
deal.
months. Yeah. So I mean, I didn't think I was a hot shot literally at all, but I was like, this is amazing. Everyone else is working 8 to 5, and we can just explore Charleston, like our new home at the time. Right now we live in California, but at the time we were just chilling. Then we moved back to California where rent is double. What were we paying at the time? I think probably $3,300.
In Charleston?
No, in California.
Oh yeah, it was $3,300.
$3,300. So it was a lot more, obviously, and it depends on where you live. It probably is not a lot to some of you guys and a lot to a lot of you, but our expenses increased, and just a little bit, not like a crazy amount. So we were on year 2 of being this like full-time influencer family. I think at the time we were making anywhere between, $15,000 a month to sometimes $30,000 a month through like YouTube AdSense. Like I said, mostly Amazon associates, sometimes reward style. Didn't link a lot of fashion things. That's not my thing.
Yeah.
And then what else? Sponsorships, obviously, sometimes commission, like from the sponsors I worked with.
Yeah.
And so I know a lot of you guys who are like, new influencers would see that kind of income and think that is the lap of luxury. And I thought that too.
Listen, I thought that because I actually had my own YouTube channel for a little while. I don't know if you remember that brief moment in time. But I was making money.
Yeah.
I was making money on AdSense and affiliate marketing, and I was like,
how much were you making? You only had like 5 videos. But they went viral.
Well, yeah, some of them did. I think I had like 5,000 subs, and I was making like $2,000 a month.
Yeah, but it's because of the niche of make money through Amazon he was doing for a hot second. And then also you made a lot of money because your Bluehost like commission.
Yes, I had SiteGround.
Just kidding. Bluehost. SiteGround commission. Anyways, so yeah, we were excited. I mean, the first year of being full-time influencer family, it was like, this is the life, you know what I mean? The second year, like I said, I had my second baby, Scarlett. And I mean, if anyone has children and is like, I wouldn't say that I was the breadwinner because I could not literally make the money without Doug helping me watch the kids.
Like by definition.
He negotiated all the contracts. He signed all the things. Like I couldn't do all the things. Like I don't have a clone of myself. But if it wasn't for this face, you know what I mean? Like you couldn't be like, here's Huggy's diapers, here's Huggy's diapers. And like, he couldn't be obviously doing that kind of stuff. So I had to do it. And I had the postpartum hormone, slight depression, anxiety, whatever, just like normal things that happen, nothing extreme, but normal things that happen when you have, your second child, or just children in general. So when that whole happened, like the transition to 2 kids and then also me having to be the face, I was so done. Like I was making, over 20K a month.
Yeah.
And we weren't working a lot.
Nope.
But the pressure was the most intense pressure. And I still have PTSD from it because, I would spend a whole day filming like a vlog or something or like a video for campers or I don't know. I'm just making them. They're amazing to work with. Okay. I'm not like shading any brands, but any kind of like, motherhood baby brand. Cause that's kind of the channel that I had. Yep. And I wouldn't spend the whole day, but it's like I'd get ready. You take the next 2 hours to memorize your lines for the sponsorship, which is a lot more time consuming than anyone can imagine. Cause you have to say it right or else they reject it. Yep. Then you spend the next however long doing it with your family or by yourself. Then you edit it, you send it to the brand, and they tell you it's wrong, you got to redo it.
So like the whole day.
Oh my God.
The whole day spent.
And I'm not saying that happens like every time.
No, but it happened more than people think.
Yeah.
It happened more than people
like
realize.
These brands will give you guidelines, and nowadays you have to say exactly what they want. Yeah. Even if you don't like really agree with a certain one-liner, like this teeth whitener made me have 10 shades whiter teeth. And you're like, no, it really only made me like 2 shades whiter. Like little things that I found myself having to do. And I'm not saying that it's ethical, okay? Like we're not going to get into the ethics of influencing right now. Maybe save that for another time. But I'm not saying that like, I'm not going to say I got myself into a hole. But at the time I was saying out loud, I'm in this hole. Yes. Like, how did I get here? Yeah. They're telling me exactly what to say,
Yeah. And what ended up happening, to try to summarize here, because we can go on and on.
Oh yeah, that's how I am. That's why he's here.
This is why I'm here. It was like we went from an 8 to 5 job to freedom back to an 8 to 5 job.
Oh yeah,
with like triple the stress. And there was just so much stress about it because I couldn't really do anything about it. That I couldn't be the face of it. I think we did one video, and that was back in Charleston a long time ago, where I actually did the integration.
Oh yeah, he did a drone integration. Drone. I was like, you're doing this one. And we love the drone. I'm not saying that the products that we did were like crap products. No. I liked them all.
Yeah, but what people don't see is like the amount of time that we're working around our children and talking about the business that happens. And the amount of time that Haley couldn't see them because she's the face and she was trading time for money. So she was trading her time of working on the sponsorship and doing the filming, at the time even doing the editing, and spending all of the time away from them. And it really just started having an impact on the kids. It started having an impact on our marriage.
Oh, yeah.
It was just kind of every friendships. Like we didn't see friends anymore for a while.
Yeah. And, there's a huge thing people don't realize, because you could obviously be like, oh, it's hard to do sponsors or whatever. But then you also don't realize that if a sponsor pulls out, you're screwed.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Lose that money.
So nothing is reliable. Nothing is passive. You are trading your time for money, which is like the biggest thing that I wish I could go back and slap myself, but I didn't know any better, So when a sponsor like this has only happened, I think, twice, and I've done hundreds of sponsorships, probably maybe hundreds. I mean, I don't know, maybe 200, maybe more. I don't know. But this has only happened twice. So you film something and then you do it all. You spend all your time doing it, and they're like, sorry, we can't pay you for this because like something happened with the brand.
Yeah.
So that's only happened a little bit, but what does happen is that, like I said, you film something and then they don't like it. So you're working it takes you like multiple days to do one thing. You have to literally, what you guys don't realize sometimes if you're not a full-time influencer, you have to get ready in the same clothes and redo that segment. Like how inauthentic.
And look, I don't want to beat a dead horse here, but
I could beat a dead horse.
Oh man. Not only did she have to like redo that section, but then anything that was planned for the next day had to be moved.
Oh my God.
And then I had to communicate with all the other brands, like, hey, we have a delay on this pissed. One. And then they're mad, and then they want to like pay us less, or like other things happen.
That only happened once, but yes.
So there's a lot of things.
And also, like, I have to be the dead horse for a little bit more. Okay. So also something people don't realize when you're a full-time influencer and like you're striving for this life and you're like, wow, she just talked about Home Chef for 30 seconds and got paid $5,000. That's amazing. What you don't realize is that you don't know the income that a lot of times, and I'm a micro influencer. So if you have a million followers, maybe you're in a different scenario. You probably are. You probably have contracts booked out for like months and stuff. There's other issues with that in my opinion. But if as a micro influencer making this good amount of money in comparison to like other Americans, what you don't realize is you don't know what you're going to book next month. And maybe you do next month. Usually I had only 2 months booked out, like the third month. So you're always kind of shitting yourself, I know I made 30 grand or 20 grand this month, but is it going to just blow up? Like, is it going to go away? And so God has blessed our family because coronavirus hit and I didn't have to be a full-time influencer because of online courses. So maybe we should pivot to that.
Yeah, maybe we should like just...
I don't know what these influencers did
Let's turn this roller coaster around here, okay? Let's not... We were sinking pretty deep for a while.
I can sink. Oh man, that year is cray. This was 2019, okay? So things have happened ridiculously fast for us.
Yeah, so let's shift a little bit.
So we had to do something different.
Somehow, we had to do something different. And of course, I never figure out anything different. Haley's like the amazing person that discovers everything. Okay. And so she discovers...
Can I just say that Doug is like... Doug, you guys will hear in the podcast and just get the sense that Doug's like the doer, So he's really good. Like, he's like the provider,
I accept.
Yeah, he's like, I'll do whatever. Yeah. But I'm always looking to the next thing. And... for some reason, he doesn't know anything about influencing.
Listen,
like, come on, he's like a regular dude,
Our literal business titles, she's CEO, I'm COO.
Okay, he did
like,
that.
Literal, that's the way it's set up.
That's because I'm always shitting myself trying to move to the next thing. Okay, I don't do that.
Okay, so we somehow come up with the idea of like, you know what? We've kind of ran into these courses and people selling courses on things. So maybe we should learn how to do that. So,
well, I stumbled upon someone's income report.
Yes.
And I was like, this person was making like $100,000 a month.
Yeah. And so we're like, okay, maybe we should do this. So for the first time, actually the second time, because the first time we bought a course and invested in a mentor was with Amazon.
Yeah.
And so then after that, we were kind of used to it. That did work out. That was awesome.
It was only, how much was that course? 1,000?
It was 1,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so then we got a course to be able to learn how to make courses.
Another $1,000 for that one.
That was there.
Yeah.
And so that's what led us up to October 2019 with YouTubepreneur with the initial launch.
And can I just say that like this sounds like, oh, you were making a bunch of money and then you started online courses and you made a bunch of more money. But you guys, it wasn't like that at all. So I told Doug, because I was so like, I don't know if depressed is the right word, but I was so just done with it.
Yeah.
All of the emotions with the second baby and the nursing and the craziness, you know, how that is.
Yep.
And then doing influencing for so long. I told him that I'm only going to be an influencer for 3 more months. I kept pushing it back a month, which is why, like, I don't know, my subscribers totally caught on and I love them so much. What are you doing? Like they're literally the best ever, which I could talk about that all day because they supported my family. But, you know, I digress. So I told Doug, I'm only relying on influencing, whatever you want to call it, for 3 more months. So we have to make money. We have to make this passive income stream in 3 months.
Yep.
So I was really, and, you know, Tony Robbins says, and it always stuck out to me, people are more apt to run away from fear than they are towards pleasure. So yeah, we were making a bunch of money, but I didn't even care. You know, I could like go buy like a lot of nice things. I didn't even care. I was running away from fear. So I was ready to literally throw that money in the garbage. I didn't want anything to do with it. Money is not happiness, you know, like it's not. And I know like I can say that, but no one's going to believe me until you're in this kind of situation. But
until you have the money.
It could be misery. So it was misery for me. And I told Doug that. So do you want to, what happened then? We invested a lot of money into like mentors and coaches.
Yeah. Like a ton. I mean, it was like
around 20,000. Yeah.
At least.
On a credit card. So I'm not afraid to say that.
Yes. On credit. And it was not just one credit card, it was multiple credit cards because we never used like pre all of this happening, we were very like pay off all your debt. And,
Dave Ramsey style it up, you know?
And debt is not good. And then we hear all these people just going into mounds of debt in order to come out of it on top. And we were like, well, I guess we're going to start taking some risks. So across like all of our credit cards, we're putting like 20 to 30 grand on mentors and programs and coaching.
This is the stuff people don't talk about.
Yeah.
But like, and maybe we'll say this for a different episode, but you know, the one thing I found that differentiates people, you know, from having like super fast success, like multiple, whatever, 6 figures in a year or 2 years, 3 years, is they leverage debt. They make money work for them. They're not scared of that. And that's like the opposite of what you're taught and trained in your life. So we were both just in an intense amount of fear at the beginning of this year. You know, we had a lot of money on credit card. We never had that before unless it was student loans. I was like, I'm not taking these sponsors. I'm turning them down. And living in Southern California with a really like right under $4,000 a month in our rent, because we couldn't even buy a house because we like, it's not the down payment. It was like,
you need like
our income is crazy.
History.
Yeah. It wasn't like for 2 years and all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of where we were. It was wild. So basically we took a risk. We invested probably definitely over 20,000. Now it's probably near 30.
For sure over 20, probably nearing 30. And that's not including ad spend.
But I was not about to go have him get another 8-to-5 job. I would rather go live on like hardly any money because I couldn't go back, you know, but I also couldn't go back to influencing. So what did we do then, Douglas?
So we had our first course launched it to like primarily your subscribers, honestly. And it was, we basically put a thing out there that was like, hey, if you're interested in becoming a YouTuber, Haley has this thing that's happening. And we ended up making like 140 sales or got 140 students. And it was like mind blowing, like absolutely mind blowing. I remember sitting at the kitchen table with my hands on my head as I see the number going up. Like
and it was around how much money was it?
30,000, 40,000. It's like 42, 43,000 for the first launch.
And like, obviously, you know, you guys are probably thinking, well, you're making a lot of money per month. Like, who cares about that 40,000?
We made that in like,
it was like the first day or
3
something.
days.
I don't even know. But it's not so much that. I look now as like, I feel like I am qualified to be calling myself an entrepreneur now. Totally different person than who I was last year. Completely different. I don't know how it's possible. But the 40,000 plus or whatever that we made was passive, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean,
we worked on the course.
We did upfront work, but it was not like,
it was coming in because there was payment plans,
and it just kept coming. Yeah.
So I saw a different way. Like I valued that income stream like so much more than like the Huggy sponsor or whatever. I keep pulling out diapers, but you know what I mean, like the Home Chef and all that kind of stuff. Like I mean, and I told him not to tell me how much it was. I didn't want to like,
I wasn't allowed
mentally, but he was over there like, this is possible. This is possible. Like, you don't have to do sponsorships anymore.
My mind was blown. It was crazy because we went into it thinking like, dude, if we can get like 5 people to sign up.
Yeah.
It might be worth it.
And also, can I just say, because I know this is a huge thing with you guys, like you want to start a course or a digital product, whatever, coaching, but you're so scared because you're not qualified, you're not good enough. When I told Doug that I really wanted to do courses, I also said, I can't do it. Like, I was like, we got to do it, but I'm not good. Okay. I'm a terrible YouTuber. I know I was making money, but I edit on iMovie. I don't have drone shots. Like, I don't know, you know, and I know about the algorithm because I have I have a good bank of viral videos. Like, I know how to make videos viral, but I was just imposter syndrome, like through the roof. Like, it doesn't matter if you're making X amount of money, you still have imposter syndrome. So he helped me create the first course. He did like a lot of the first course because he's he's an expert in analytics. That's what he did for his job. So, I mean, I could barely, like, without him, I definitely wouldn't have created it because I would have just been like, I suck.
Yeah. And that's one of the first things. And I think we're going to actually do a show on that specifically about like imposter syndrome, trying to figure out, you know, and believing in yourself and being able to believe in yourself in that. And even so, you know, like going through and making that kind of money, like it still sits there. So it's like a very trained thing.
It's never going away. You have to work on.
Yeah.
It's your mind.
It really is. But so let's continue for the sake of not being here for 6 hours.
Go ahead.
We'll kind of continue on within the journey. So we did that first launch. It happened in October. We closed the enrollment to the course down. We went through it. We made revisions, and we were like, we don't want to have to choose. There's refunds. Like, it's a very stressful time period in which you're trying to enroll. And if you launch your course in 1 month, then you wait like 2 or 3 months and then you launch it again. Wait 2 or 3 months and you launch it again. And it kind of brought back PTSD of, hey, we did this sponsorship. Now, do we know, are we going to book the next one? Are we going to book another one?
Yeah, so
can we have another $40,000 launch?
So it was a better way, but it wasn't like
it wasn't perfect.
It's not passive,
nothing's going to be perfect,
no.
But it wasn't what we wanted because we went into the deep end of being entrepreneurial and being like, hey, we were nearly like on a salesperson full commission salary is kind of what it was like.
Yeah.
Like, if you didn't work, then you didn't make the money, and that's not what we wanted. You know, we found more coaches and we found more mentors to be able to learn about how to do things more passively.
How to run Facebook ads.
Yeah, how to run Facebook ads.
I was like done with social media at that point.
And how to set up automated systems so that we could make sales without having to do these crazy launches and being stressful and guessing. Because like, everybody wants numbers. Everybody wants to be able to have consistent numbers that they hit every single month. And if you don't, you're kind of a fool because like, you want to be able to know what's going to happen 3 months from now.
Especially having kids, you know, I know we sound crazy and we are. I mean, it's really me. But like, we're about to have 3 kids and this is not the life like that we didn't want. Like, we make a lot of money and we have, but it's different. There's no like security, you know? So we didn't want that. We wanted to sort of replicate the security that you get with an 8 to 5.
Yeah.
And honestly, you know, not to mention when I set out to be a full-time influencer and, you know, do all the cool things, even as a micro influencer that you can do, like retire your husband. I mean, I say retire, but he's still obviously doing so many things, but that's what people kind of say, you know, have your spouse quit their job. In the back of my mind, actually in the front of my mind, I always just wanted to be like a full-time mom or whatever you want to call it. So I never had this ambition and seriously, I always say this, but like, no shade to people that have help. I mean, just earlier today, we were interviewing a babysitter to help us out. So like, I am not opposed to getting help or treating it like an 8 to 5 job if that's what you want. But for me personally, I always just wanted to be this stay-at-home mom that still makes passive income. And I want it all, you know, like I want to be with my kids. I potentially, maybe, I don't know, want to homeschool my kids. So I want to be that, you know, present force that is the mom all the time. So when I found myself, you know, living this full-time influencer life, I was working a lot. I don't think we really touched on that. I mean, we touched on the fact that like I had to redo sponsorships and it was a lot of the daily grind, but I was still working like full-time hours. And Doug was the one that was the only dude at the park with the 2 toddlers, like seriously surrounded by moms. Nothing wrong with it, but how much do you think I was?
Looks. Don't worry, I got some stairs.
He doesn't mind it. Yeah. But how much do you think I was working? Like editing and talking with the brands on the phone?
I mean, so usually the way it worked was like wake up, breakfast, do the usual thing, and then like 9 to 12, I would watch them. Haley would work through the nap with Scarlett, and then I would hang out with Annabelle, and she'd be editing or doing whatever. And then from like 2:30 to 5, I would watch them again.
Yeah. And it sucks. Like, you know, and that is not a bad life. Okay. I am so thankful, so blessed, all the things, but it sucked because that's not what I wanted. Like, I just wanted to hang out as a family. And I know a lot of people are like, well, you want a lot of things. I do. I want a lot of things from my life.
We wanted
I want to
like
live.
sit on the beach and then like your phone's like, ding, you just made $10,000 and you're like, cool.
And I used to think like that's not possible. And now I'm like, we're living the life right now. So it's absolutely possible. And I think that's why we're so passionate about sharing with you guys a new way, like a better way to still be an influencer, but to have like job security, financial security, and to be able to be like whatever kind of parent you want to be, whatever kind of person you want to be. I think like influencers are definitely put in this box, and I put myself in the box of like, I have to do these sponsors. I have to work this kind of hours. I have to be on. That's another story. Be on 24/7. I have to appease algorithms. I have to be on top. Like I have to go viral. I have to do all these things. You don't have to do any of that if you don't want to. You know, you can live opposite and make way more money. So
that's what you assume needs to happen. And that's what you assume the steps are. And you're like, this is just the way life is. Like, this is, I'm an influencer. Thankful. This is what you have to do.
Yeah. And influencers, I think like they definitely plateau. I mean, nobody climbs forever. There are influencers, even like Casey Neistat, who's amazing, like top of his game. You know, he found a plateau. Everybody plateaus. So I don't like that. You know, I always want to keep growing. And there just reaches a point where it's like, you can't keep doing this until you're 45 years old. Like, you know, I mean, a lot of 45-year-olds are doing
back to my channel.
Yeah.
Today I'm doing my sponsorship
and you know,
dentures company.
Okay, the 45. That's not what he means by that. But maybe 45 is bad. But like, you know, 70 years old, like what, you got to do something different. Yeah. And I wanted to do it when my kids were young. You know, I didn't want to be away from them a lot. So that really led us to obviously pursuing digital courses like we've talked about. And I mean, we both work less now. I can't even like fathom how much we worked before. And it's wild. Like how many hours do you think we work now?
Well, not many at all. Like 1 to 2 hours a day. And but we got to go back to talk about like what got us to this point of constantly stressing, constantly and figuring out about launching, and then, you know, getting from working 3 hours at a time and then do that twice a day, 6 hours total work, and doing a bunch of things. In order for things to be passive, you can't be the one that's doing the work all the time, right? Yeah. So you can't be the one that's always making all the decisions, that's also always doing all the implementing. And even though Haley and I split things, you know, she was always forward thinking and trying to give me instructions on what to do. And I would start there and then go to wherever I needed to in order to get the job done, whether it was uploading or editing or, you know, setting up funnels, whatever it might have been. It was, you know, there was still the two of us, but there was still so much to do all the time. So
like as far as online course,
making it passive and turning the online course journey from, you know, constantly working on it to not working
hardly at all
and trying to do other things.
Yeah, I think what people don't realize is that, and I think you might actually realize this after like at this point of the podcast, but you know, obviously it's not enough just to have big launches. I mean, people do that. Like, don't get me wrong. I mean, I just bought a course the other day about mindset. It was like a $2,000 course about mindset. It's the best ever. But she has $500,000 months, this one, you know, influencer course creator, and she launches only. So she doesn't even like run Facebook ads or do any of that stuff. But it takes a massive audience for that. And I didn't want to wait around to like have millions of people following me. So I wanted to have that like quicker.
Yeah. So what we had to do to get to where we are now is we had to outsource. We had to, you know, spend more money. Like people don't understand also, you spend money on your business a lot. And so although we're like, we hit 6-figure months, and you know, and like that's where we are now. And even though we're still hitting those, we don't see it's not like 100% revenue just go straight into your pocket. You have employees that you need to pay. You have agencies that you need to pay. You have to pay for your programs. You have to pay for a lot of things. So making that transition from going from launching to evergreen was difficult. And it was scary. We were putting a ton of money on credit cards.
And we started running Facebook ads. We hired a Facebook ad management team. Yeah. And how much is that for the management?
I mean, that was like in total, everything was $8,000 a month.
Yeah.
Like just for Facebook ads.
We'd never done anything like that in our life, but we were willing to take a really big risk. I only saw upside because I'm weird like that.
And so that's kind of what we had to do was we had to learn from people, take risks, and find ways to be able to get that stability that we wanted. And, you know, I don't want to go into all the details because I could spend weeks talking about the details of what it takes to be able to do that. But there is a way to do it, and it is possible. And that's what we want to help people do is we want to help people understand that like the dream life of making money as an influencer without having to depend on sponsorships is possible.
or a launch, like a big launch with a huge audience.
Yeah.
And you know, like I know we talk a lot, we obviously have shared a lot of struggles, which I don't feel bad about at all. Cause I think like, I don't want to paint this rainbow unicorn, like fantasy land. Cause it's not the case. It's not been the case. It's been a lot of, especially with your spouse, like you can imagine, but it's absolutely worth it. I mean, I think last month we hit $80,000.
Yeah. Maybe we should be more positive in those podcasts.
Yeah. There's so many things for us to be positive. So last month, I think we hit over $80,000. And that is just like wild when like, so yeah, I mean, we went from last year, me trading my time for money, Doug being like pretty much the primary caretaker while I was doing like
caretaker is a good way of putting it.
I mean, we still are now, but we love it, obviously. But, you know, going from that last year, hitting like really good numbers, you know, comparing to like even just some doctors, you know, I mean, it's a lot of money. 6 figures, multiple 6 figures a year is like really impressive. Yeah. But, you know, I worked a lot and it was not always stable. And also algorithms change so much. Not to mention, I forgot to say, I'll just say it briefly. YouTube turned off all the comments on my channel. Oh, yeah. When that happened, I was like, I'm done. Like, I don't trust any of this. We went through a time. Yeah. So anyway,
channels were getting demonetized, and comments were getting turned off. You just didn't know what was going on.
They're still off. Yeah. But, you know, it was a very scary time. So we went from there, you know, to obviously now, I mean, I barely work at all. We have a team of people working with us and for us that we absolutely love. And we're hiring more people. We hired more people this week. So it's just like so crazy. And if we hadn't taken all these really crazy, scary risks and, you know, I hate to say it, but leveraged credit, I'm not telling you guys to do that at all, but I don't regret any of it. Because you just like, you know, we did it because we wanted to pay to learn through other people's mistakes. Like we didn't want to have to make 2 or 3 or 5 years of mistakes. We wanted to see someone else do it first and learn so we didn't have to make all those mistakes. And it just like cut the time in half.
You shouldn't have to, and you shouldn't want to. You shouldn't want to have to make those own mistakes yourself. People are out there teaching this for a reason. Yeah.
And it's funny because I had to have this huge mindset shift, Doug, too, about, you know, paying for information. And we talk about digital products. And a lot of people say like, well, Haley, why would people pay for my advice? Well, you made all the mistakes they don't want to make. You have the track record of success that they don't have. And they don't want to spend hours sifting through a bunch of different varying pieces of advice online. That's the same exact thing. So we teach people how to do this, but we have bought $30,000 worth of products like this, info products or whatever you want to call it, that have made us like hundreds of thousands of dollars in such a short amount of time. So, you know, anyways, just to like wrap that up, like it's just wild. So that's why we feel like now is the appropriate time to share about it and to teach you guys all the stuff that we wish we knew. Because although it happened for us in 12 months, we have been like just savages, like every day, because we had to. We were running from something that we hated. We were running away from fear, you know, holding our breath the whole time. So it's been absolutely worth it. And we feel so passionate about teaching influencers that you don't have to live a life dependent on algorithms and also public perception. Like if you say something that pisses a lot of people off, it's okay. Try to cancel you we're not into that. We just, you know, we want stability for our family. So do you want to talk about, I guess, our plans for the future?
I mean, yeah. So if that's you, like if that's how you feel, if you feel like you need to get off the typical influencer train, or if you had an idea of how influencers were and how they made money, and this is kind of opening your eyes, or if you knew that this is something that's possible, you just don't think it'll happen, or you're scared about people not buying something, or you just don't know what the steps are to take, then this is the show for you. Like this is what we're here for. We want to be able to help people overcome those things and achieve the lifestyle that they want. Like we said, we want to go from influencing to making an income with digital products because we just feel so strongly about that. So for this show, it's going to be both on YouTube and on whatever it is that you listen to podcasts. We're going to get it, you know, put out everywhere. So you can kind of pick and choose how it is that you want to listen to it. It's going to be basically the same, but the point here and the thing that we want to do is we just want to help people. Yeah. We just want to make them know that it's possible and really be raw with what we do. Like I'm never on anything. No. And the fact that I'm here it's kind of like an, oh shit, Doug's here. Like something is going
he has something to say
down, Doug, because I don't talk about things, you know. No.
We've been like obviously trying to get our head above water. Now that it's well above, like we can help our family and we can live in Southern California and do like crazy things that we never thought. Like it's still sinking in for us. Yeah. Anyways, money stories are like a whole other podcast that we could talk about. Yeah. But and our issues with that, and everyone's kind of issues with it. But the last thing that I have to say in this podcast is something that I feel super passionate about, and is that with digital products, you don't have have to have a large audience, because I know a lot of you guys who are listening or watching right now, you still think, well, Haley, you had a big audience. You're a micro influencer, but you know, you had over 100,000 people following. I mean, they were all watching first off. But you have a lot of people following, so I'll just like wait. But if I had, I mean, I did think that for way too long, but if I had started this journey like 5 years ago when I had 100 people following me, I would have done the same thing in the 12 months.
Yeah.
So that's why I think that it's such a missed opportunity for influencers, and why we want to get on top of it, particularly for influencers, because they already have an influence, even if it's like 100 people. Yeah. You know, they can make such a bigger dent in their income versus just like sitting on their hands and waiting to explode magically and go viral.
There's no need to wait. And just an aside, like I think most people consider micro influencers like 3,000 followers.
No, they don't. It's 100,000.
100?
Yes.
Well, because like where I used to work, they were like, oh, these micro influencers, and it was like 500 people.
No, but that's because you were.
Like 500.
That was like 5 years ago.
I have more than 500 people.
That was 5 years ago, but now micro influencers are like around 50 to 100,000.
Okay, so that, even though like Haley said, like micro, putting air quotes out there for people who are listening.
It's because there's more and more influencers. You know?
That isn't a time, that isn't a goal that you need to hit, or is it like a bar that you need to reach before you do anything? No. I mean, we've had students that they like no following.
1,000 people or less hitting 10K months within 30 days, you guys.
Like
because like the thing that, I mean, we could talk about this forever, but the thing that people don't realize is that when you sell your own products that are digital, you have low overhead or no overhead. You don't even need to pay into some fancy platform. You could just deliver it through email for free with a free plan. I wouldn't recommend it, but you can do all of that. There's low overhead. You don't have to spend $1,000 in products like we did with Amazon. And you take home like 90% of the profits. It's ridiculous. Versus a sponsor who, like when I was working with Home Chef, you know, they paid me whatever, $3,000, but they were making like $45,000 off of like me, because they're taking home all the profits.
And it's aside from like the 95% take home, which is a true number. Like like when I first ran our books, because I also used to do the accounting before we got an accountant.
He did everything.
and it was like 95% take home after everything, which was crazy, which kind of blew my mind. Aside from all of those things, so aside from like the 95% take home that you have with this, even if you start early and you start when you're like not a micro influencer, you know, like 50,000, whatever, the turnaround and the time you can make your investment back,
oh my God,
is like instant.
I mean, we should know we literally spent like 20 grand on a coach. We made it back within the first 2 months.
Not even the first 2 months, within the first month. That we went through, like 32 days. We spent $20,000 or so on a program with coaching and mentorship. We made it back in like 32 days.
Because it's just like the way that you can make it back is so fast, because
you're not waiting. You're not waiting to hit a number. You're not waiting for sponsors to reach out to you. You're not waiting for products to be shipped to you. You're not waiting for the algorithm to like you, like whatever people say and whatever all the other excuses are, which that's going to be another episode here, which is excuses, because I hear them a lot. No, we heard them a lot growing our business. And we've felt every excuse, but I don't want to ramble on too long. That's here. We'll kind of wrap this up. But if all that sounds like you, and if all that sounds like that, you know, like I said, you want to make money, you're an influencer, you're struggling to make money, you want to be an influencer, but you've discovered digital courses,
or you don't want to wait to get a huge influence to make money. Like you want to make it now. You don't have the luxury, because like we didn't have the luxury to wait. So this is why this income stream is particularly helpful if you're impatient like us. But and you don't like people telling you what to do. That's also. So
if that sounds like you, subscribe. Make sure that you head over and to your podcast. Leave a review on the podcast. Leave a review, because that will help us get some exposure, and it will help people. You know, we want to help you guys build an income, make an impact on the world. So if you guys do that, that's kind of like, you know, playing your part. So we're excited. I'm excited. Are you ready? Are you ready? So excited. And we're going to be doing episodes like really raw ones. So we're going to be doing income reports on here, talking about, because I know maybe a lot of you guys are like, well, how much do they pay for all these things? It's not a lot. I know Facebook ads can be a lot, but you make a lot back. You know how to do them.
or if you're paying someone that's smart like we did. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about like what the heck is going evergreen, because yeah, you know, you want passive income, but you don't want to launch all the time. So we're going to talk about what exactly that means. We're going to talk about the people that we've worked with and like the crazy success they've had with smaller audiences. I mean, if I had done this years ago, I could say that all the time, but, and all those things, just like educating you guys on what that looks like. And also, you know, just in general, like being an influencer and different revenue streams, things that we've learned.
I mean, the world of influencing has been like flipped upside down.
Oh
with
yeah.
recent events and the way things that are going
in 2020.
And, you know, the silver lining is that people have learned about this revenue stream, and you don't have to stop being an influencer to do it. So
yeah, like you don't have to quit sponsors.
Yeah, you don't have to quit doing things like that. But as an influencer or somebody who's doing influencing or getting into it, you know, any stage of the journey, you have a unique opportunity. So we just want to make sure that you take this opportunity. You know, go for it, do it, and we're here to help. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all that I have. We haven't practiced an ending for podcast episodes yet.
So thank you guys for listening or watching. And I mean, we'll see you guys in the next week.
Yeah. All right.
Bye, guys.